Hello, I'm Jas Trouncin with Direct Motion. I'm going to show you a little bit about our .NET motion control system and how software developers interface with it. People familiar with C Sharp and basic object-oriented programming techniques will get the most out of this video. I'm going to show you a little bit about my setup here. On this computer here, we have 3 monitors set up, and we're going to be developing using Visual Studio C Sharp 2008. Over here we have our target machine. So we're going to be developing on this computer and downloading the compiled executable over to this computer to show you what it does. This computer is a standard computer running Vista, and we have 6 amplifiers here. These control power to these 6 motors over here. We also have some general purpose I/O points, so we can simulate like a limit switch or probe or any other kind of I/O. And here's an e-stop. Here's a hand wheel. And this is an output board. It just has 6 auxiliary relays used for general purpose outputs.
Okay, so now we're going to start doing some programming. This is Visual Studio 2008. We're going to be using C Sharp. So we're going to come over here and go to File, then New Project. We're going to do a Windows Form application using Visual C Sharp. And we're going to call it Basic Motion. So this just gives you a basic form that you can add controls to, like buttons and stuff. So right now we're just going to come over here and say View the Code. We're going to have to add a reference to our motion control library. It's under Recents here. It happens to be, this is the one we're going to use. It's called dmserialmotion.dll. That contains all of the logic to move motors around and do everything related to the motion control. Okay, so now we're going to add a class called dmControl, and dmControl is actually in that DLL that we just referenced. So we're going to say using DM serial motion, that's the namespace where DM control is. And we're going to come down here and say control equals new, DM control. So that's going to create an instance of our control. And then we're going to call a function in there called load device driver. So load device driver basically just gets the whole system going. It's kind of an initialization function. The first parameter here is the instance. In case we have more than one control attached to the system, we would call the second one instance 1, third one be instance 2. So since we only have one control on our target machine, it's going to be instance 0. The file name is a file that has to be loaded into the motion control library to give it some basic motion details. And this is something that comes with the driver. It's called motion.bit. Okay. And the type of control, another parameter, this is going to be a parallel type control. Okay. So now we've initialized that. Let's switch over to release here and go ahead and compile. Build succeeded. That's a good sign. So now after this, we would have basic communication from the software, from the program that we're writing, to the control. So now we can start doing some interesting stuff. Let's add another class up here called DMAccessModule. And we're just going to give this the member variable name access1. We're going to say access1 equals the control.getDMAccess. And we're going to make that, we're going to call out the x-axis. Now the reason we do this, rather than just making a new instance of access1, is because the control saves parameter information for the particular axis. So we have to give it a named string name, and then it's going to load all the preset variables for the x-axis. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to come back over here to our form, and we're going to add some buttons here. We're going to add one button, make it kind of big so we can see it later. and we're going to call it, or give it text called move, and we're going to label it move also. Okay, so now under our events, we're going to create an event for when the user clicks it with the mouse down, and then we're also going to add another event for the mouse up. So mouse down is when the user actually clicks it and holds the mouse down, and then when they let go of it, we're going to get a mouse up event. So on the mouse down, we're going to say axis1.jogspeed equals 100. Okay, and then on the mouse up, it's going to say jog1, or axis1.jogspeed equals 0. So when the user pushes the mouse down on that button, it's going to make axis 1 move at 100 units per second. And when they lift their mouse up when they lift their finger up off the mouse, it's going to set jog speed to 0, and that's going to stop the motion on that particular axis. Okay, so let's see what this does now.
Okay, so now we're going to run our program, and we get this big move button here on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and click that, and we don't hear the motors turning. That's because we don't have our e-stop pulled out. So we're going to pull the e-stop out, and you'll see the relay board do something. When I push the e-stop in, turns off the relay board. Pull it back out, and you see the relays clicking. That's a startup sequence. It's kind of a power on sequence. So now we can click it, and you can hear the motor move. Let's try this again. Now you can see that motor is turning. When I let go of the mouse, it stops. Push it down, it goes. Stop, go. Okay?